Hello and welcome back to Night Fever, a fan podcast for Auckland FC. My name is Jenkins and today we're looking back to last weekend's match against Central Coast Mariners at Go Media Stadium, which finished 2-2, a result that ultimately felt like 2 points dropped. Let's work through the game step by step and the build-up to the lineups, the action on the pitch and key stats, and what this point means. In the build-up to the game, Auckland FC, they came into this fixture on the back of some indifferent form. The Black Knights not able to notch together a consecutive run of wins, and 2026 has seen some very average performances and scorelines. There was a reasonable buzz around Go Media Stadium. A crowd filled the stadium with 10,225 fans in attendance. It was a decent showing on a day where the weather was very changeable. Rain to sun, sun to rain, etc. Gusty winds, it was going to be quite a challenge for the players, especially with long balls. The starting lineup saw an interesting change at right back for Auckland FC. Jake Girdwood-Reich started at right back for the first time this season. Hiroki Sakai, he picked up an injury in the last match where he went off early against Melbourne City, but the gaffer went with Jake Girdwood-Reich ahead of Callan Elliott, who has shown great form when taking over from captain Hiroki Sakai. Michael Vau was in goal and Dan Hall and Nando Peinecker remained in central defence. Francis de Vries was wearing the captain's armband at left back. In the middle of midfield, we saw a continuation of the partnership with Louis Verstraete and Felipe Gallegos. On the right wing, Jesse Randall, he had switched from the left, which put Brook in on the left of midfield himself. Guillermo Mai, he was back in the starting lineup along with Sam Cosgrove up front. Central Coast Mariners, they went with a 4-4-2 formation. Oliver Laval amongst the starting 11. So the Go Media Stadium was welcoming the players back at home for only their second match of 2026. Some 23 days since the last one at Go Media Stadium. Yep, a decent turnout, cracking 10,000. But I do still wonder where those other 8,000 fans are from last season, where our average attendance per game was 18,000 fans. Anyway, the Port fans were back with their march to the stands, a march that seems to have lost a little bit of its energy and impact on game day. Interestingly, there was security personnel holding up a stick with a blue smoke flare leading the Port fans down the stairs. Quite odd. But I guess this is a safety measure that the security team have put in place in terms of flares and smoke bombs, etc. at the match. So the Port, they were there in their numbers behind the goal in the south stand. The east and the west stands were filling up quite nicely, but with sporadic empty seats. So the first half, it got underway, and in the 12th minute, we saw Jesse Randall showcase his movement and clinical finishing to put the Black Knights 1-0 ahead. It was a brilliant finish into the bottom corner from inside the Mariners' box. Auckland's first half was lively. The home side dominated possession, moving the ball well across midfield. Verstraete and Gallegos were particularly active in linking play, pushing beyond halfway and creating opportunities. But Central Coast grew into the contest, and right on the brink of half-time, Oliver Laval levelled the score in the 44th minute, punishing a lapse in defensive pressure after sustained pressure on the Auckland's back line. The goal just before the break, it was a sucker punch. It changed the feel of the momentum heading into half-time. We have seen it a lot recently this season where Auckland have had a lapse of that concentration, switching off just before half-time and into the second half. Auckland struck in the 58th minute. Sam Cosgrove heading home from a Francis de Vries delivery, restoring the lead to 2-1. A really nice goal from Big Sam, who was doing exactly what we signed him for, to get on the end of those deliveries from De Vries. From there, Auckland seemed to control the game for large periods, comfortable on the ball, probing the flanks and keeping the Mariners pinned back. But they couldn't get that all-important cushion of a 2-goal advantage. They had a runaway break at one point where they seemed to have 3 players against Mariners 2, but they stuffed it up. That opportunity, it fell to Mai, who decided to go for a shot instead of squaring it to one of the 2 Auckland players who were in a better position for a shot on goal. It seemed we had the opportunities, but we just couldn't take advantage, whether it was just poor choice or the inability to be clinical in front of goal. Oliver Laval struck again in the 89th minute to sink the home supporters to a very disappointing draw. It was a goal that stemmed from a gift at the back. It was a mistake from goalkeeper Michael Vau. The ball bounced up a little bit funny for him. He couldn't get hold of it, and with extreme panic, he allowed the ball to go into his own net, gifting the Mariners a second goal that would earn them a vital point at Go Media Stadium. The score finished Auckland FC 2, Central Coast Mariners 2. Let's now go through the players. Michael Vau, he's going to forever be remembered for that fumbling mess for the second goal, where he could have seemed to easily had the ball under control, but maybe slippery conditions and a lack of concentration allowed the ball to get into the net. Jake Goodwood-Reich at right back, he did a decent job in that position, solid in duels, offering width, but did struggle somewhat with pace against the Mariners' left winger. Nando Peineker's early composure was good, but the pressure late on got to the back line. Dan Hall, some key challenges and blocks throughout the game. He had a decent game. Francis De Vries with that great assist, and in the captain's armbands, his performance was pretty good on the left. Felipe Gallegos helping to control tempo well and smartly. He found some pockets between the lines. For Strata, again, another man of the match performance. Probably the most outstanding player for Auckland on the day. Jesse Randall out on the right. His pace was troubling the Mariners' defence, and he got that great goal to kick off the scoring for the night. Lockie Brook, he was a constant threat cutting inside. He looked bright on the ball, but was unable to continue his scoring run. He worked well linking the play, though without a goal. Sam Cosgrove up front, clinical in the air, especially that fantastic goal on the 58th minute. The coach, which didn't go to 5 at the back this time, he waited much longer to make some substituted changes and made a few surprising choices by taking Cozzy off, who could have held up the play quite well up front. He took away our attacking players where we should have really gone for that third goal to get a 2-goal cushion. You said that he told you it was another questionable management of the game with the substitutions. Taking a look at some stats from the game. Auckland FC in possession, they had 68% to the Mariners 32. An XG of 1.75 for the home team and 1.19 for the visitors. Auckland had 21 total shots to Mariners 6, with 10 on target for Auckland and 2 on target for the Mariners. This shows how poor Auckland are at clinical finishing. They are good at creating the chances, but they don't have the quality to score the goals and take advantage of their dominance. They had 2 big chances that should have gone in. There were 7 corner kicks for Auckland against Mariners 4. In the pass accuracy, 87% for Auckland, which was pretty good and one of their highest of the season so far. Central Coast Mariners only with a 66 pass accuracy. Goalkeeper saves, 0 keeper saves for Auckland and 8 for the Mariners. Redmayne with some key saves throughout the game, showing his experience. So some takeaways looking ahead for Auckland. They must tighten up their defence, focus in the final minutes, and conceding late has cost us valuable points yet again. We've developed a little bit of a pattern here, and it's happened at home previously as well. In attack, we were slick and creative, but lacking that clinical edge. The midfield control was excellent. The balance of possession, the tempo speaks to the game that's working. The game plan is just not coming to fruition. Next week, we should expect Corrigan to look at some changes and focus on a more structured defending later on in the first and second halves. The times of the matches where we seem to be conceding goals due to lack of concentration. Surely we'll see a start for Ollie Sale, which will be against his former club Perth Glory. Michael Vow, he's had a string of errors in the past few matches which have seen Auckland lose points on the table, and you could see the impact it has on Michael Vow too. His head was down after that mistake for the second goal, and you could see he was swallowed up in his own thoughts on that mistake. At the end of the game, Auckland players, they came over to the port end of the stadium to acknowledge the support and singing and chants that went throughout the game. But Michael Vow was missing. He didn't come to the fans. He didn't own up and take accountability, which is seen as a big negative from the fan collection. Surely Coach Corica will take note of that reaction too. Michael Vow, he's going to need a reset to get his head back into gear. So we could see Ollie Sale start for Auckland against Perth. We don't have a lot of other options to rotate the squad, but we need to really work on that clinical finishing to take advantage of all the opportunities that were being created. We were really good at controlling the game, but just lacking that killer edge and that poor concentration late on. For the Mariners, they showed fight and resilience. 2 goals from Oliver Lavelle, including that late sucker punch, is a testament to their never say die attitude. They'll look to build from here. So that's it for this episode of Night Fever. Thanks for tuning in. A massive shout out to everyone who was at the game at Go Media Stadium last weekend, and to everyone watching from home. I'll be back with a match preview for the next game away to Perth Glory. It's going to be a late one for the fans watching at home, 12:45 kickoff New Zealand time. Until then, up the port, up the Black Knights. Goodbye for now.